Welcome to a new, hopefully, series on my channel in which I talk about obscure wars throughout history. For this first episode, I'm going to talk about probably my favorite of these, the War of the Stray Dog, which is also known as the incident at Petrich. Let us begin. Our story begins before the actual start of the war itself. Greece and Bulgaria had been very hostile towards each other since both nations gained independence from the Ottoman Empire. This was because both nations wanted to take some territory, more specifically Macedonia and Western Thrace, for themselves. This desire to own this land resulted in the Second Balkan War starting in late June 1913 and only lasted about a month until August. I'm not going to go into detail about exactly what happened in the war, but all you need to know is that Bulgaria went up against Greece, Serbia, and Romania, and lost and had to give up some territory. And then, just about a year after the Second Balkan War ended, in July 1914, World War I started. For the first year of the war, Bulgaria decided to remain neutral, but in October 1915 decided to join the war on the side of the Central Powers. When the war came to an end in 1918, Bulgaria was punished hard. They had to give up some territory, more specifically some land to the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes, which would later become Yugoslavia, and Western Thrace to Greece, which, if you recall, is some of the land they were fighting over. And as you could probably guess, this caused the tension between the two nations to increase even further. This brings us to the actual start of the war itself. On October 19th, 1925, on this day, there was a Greek soldier stationed at the border to Bulgaria, near the town of Petrich. This soldier also happened to own a dog. But then, suddenly, for unknown reasons, this dog started running towards and past the border. The soldier naturally started to chase after his dog, and when he passed the border, he was noticed by some Bulgarian soldiers, who shot and killed him. When the other Greek soldiers who were stationed there saw what happened, they began to open fire on the Bulgarians, and a fight between the two sides ensued. A Greek captain attempted to calm the situation down, but he was shot and killed by Bulgarian soldiers along with his aide. The incident was all over the media and the Greek government was furious. Bulgaria tried to explain that the whole thing was nothing more than a severe misunderstanding and even offered to let an investigation happen, but the Greek Prime Minister and dictator Theodoros Pangelos sent an ultimatum in which Bulgaria must punish the soldiers, give an official apology, and pay 2 million French francs to the Greek soldiers' families as compensation. They had 48 hours to do this. Bulgaria had refused to comply with the demand, and so on October 22nd, Greek soldiers were sent in to occupy Petrich and the nearby area. Some Bulgarian soldiers did fight back, but the Greeks maintained their position on the area. Out of desperation, Bulgaria appealed to the League of Nations for help. The League ordered a ceasefire between the two nations, ordered Greece to leave the area, and to pay 45 British pounds as compensation. Greece had refused to listen to the demands, so the League sent in their own troops to force them to leave, and so on October 29th, 1925, just 10 days after the first shootout, the war came to an end, which makes this one of the shortest wars in history. The casualties of the war were pretty low, with only about 50 Bulgarians and 100 Greeks being killed. The Greek people were humiliated by this defeat, so 10 months later, in August 1926, they staged a coup and overthrew Pangelos, and replaced him with the guy he previously overthrew. As for what happened to the dog after it ran away, nobody knows. It was never seen again after it ran off. And that's where the story of the incident at Petrich ends. This was a little experiment I wanted to try out. Let me know what you thought of this. I plan on making more of these. Yeah, I don't know what else to say here, so